Yes. Yes. Hella, 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 hella. Yeah, hey guys, how are you? How's everything? Hope you guys are doing great. Yeah, so today we're going to be doing some experimenting and with just Blender, stuff. Because I've been seeing a lot of environments. I've been getting into this environment theme. I want to get into environment themes. Trying to experiment with that. I want to understand what makes a good environment. So we're going to be doing some experimenting here, trying to create some large scenes. Hello, Mohammed. How are you doing? Hope you are doing great. So I'm going to be looking through ArtStation here and just play with a few different scenes, and you can see I'll try to make as many scenes as we try to recreate as many scenes as we can from this, just to get an idea of how we can make these scenes in Blender. So yeah. So these are some of the scenes we're going to be trying to recreate. Hopefully we can do as many as possible, and just different styles. Hello, Matt. How are you? So today I'm streaming at a completely different time. It's night time at 11:49 here p.m. So yeah, I'm sure most of my audience is not going to be available, but that's okay. They can rewatch the stream. I was getting bored, so I decided to just jump in with the stream just to see how things go. Okay, so let's see what we do. Yeah, I usually like to start with some promos, just a way to support the channel. So let's do that. Get those out of the way. The first add-on I want to promote today is UV Toolkit. This is a great toolkit for UV unwrapping. It makes UV unwrapping more powerful. As you know, Blender's UV tools have not been updated in a while. You haven't got we haven't got any new features in the UV unwrapping system. So this UV toolkit is going to be amazing for you, especially if you do UVs, if you make models for sale or for putting in a game engine, because Blender's UV tools right now are a bit limited, so you don't really get the features that you need to make proper UV maps. This is going to be an add-on that is going to simplify that for you. So a link for that is going to be in the description. It's an affiliate link. If you buy it, I get a commission off of that. Helps me with the channel, maintaining it and keeping it live. So yeah, if you want to get that, you can get that add-on in the description. Another add-on I'd like to promote is the hard surface add-on. This is also another amazing add-on that you can use to create hard surface details quite easily. This uses let me first reduce the sound. This music is a bit too loud. Yeah, so this uses displacements and textures, custom textures like this to make high detailed hard surfaces in a few steps. You can see, just look at it's always great to just go into the link in the chat, in the description, check out the add-on and see if it works for you, and if you want to buy it, you can get it. But this does this quite easily for you, so you can just generate UV maps, high detailed hard surface details easily like this. So you can see it's just a simple cube. Use the add-on and generate a ton of different displacements that you can use for your details or for your scenes. Another add-on I'd like to promote is the trees and grass library. This is an add-on that comes packed with a lot of trees, vegetations, and now they have a free option available, which I wasn't sure. A solution for complex quotes. Matt, what is exactly? I'm not sure what quotes are, but as I was saying, the botanical add-on is an amazing add-on for making anything vegetation in Blender. So all links are going to be in the description. So let's dive into this. And let's try diving into today's projects and see what we can do. So we can start off with this piece here. It's by Hauzan Z. Let me give him a like and a follow. Some amazing piece. Let's try to do it and try to replicate it. Try to tackle it. Oh, amazing solution for complex cities. Yeah, that the hard surface add-on can do that. I think you can add in your own custom buildings, and when you add in the add-on, I think you can get something amazing. Okay. I just want to make sure that everything is good. Okay, yeah. So this might be a bit. It doesn't look too complicated. We can break it down. Yes. Just want to see if we can replicate something like this. We're not going to copy exactly. We're just using it as inspiration to drive our inspiration. So I guess that's what inspiration is. So yeah, breaking this down, can see that he's using quite a lot of perspective. As you can see, these diagonal lines, maybe they're adding something to that, and this cloud of foggy thing is kind of helping with the separation of the different layers, and the foggy background as well kind of helps with separating the layers and making the scene look massive, and also having this character here, and this allows for a good understanding of scale. And I don't know if these are birds, whatever these are, they're also helping. I'm seeing some characters here. Yeah, so most of the things here that I'm seeing here is doable. The only thing that we might have difficulty doing is the vegetation here, because it takes some time to get good vegetation like this. But let's try to set up something like this. We can use some pre-made assets for these characters here, and let's see. We'll just split this into an image editor. I want to add a timer to time myself, but I also don't want to mess up my viewport, or I don't want to make it smaller. Anyway, okay, so let's start by adding these large columns. And I'm not going to model everything from scratch because we have a lot to do. So I'm just going to use my asset library to just import a few things. So let's start with an arc. Just going to search through my asset library, grab some arcs. Let me see. Do I have a... Much. Let me see. Arch or arc. Trying to see something that I can use for these large pillars, or maybe we can just create them from scratch. They don't seem that hard. So let's try a cube like this, make it super tall, and can add a cursor anywhere in the center and use the spin tool. You can access it via here, or you can, if you're using the quick functions add-on, which is my own add-on, you can use Shift Q and access a few tools. I'm adding more tools as I'm adding more tools to the add-on. That I think might be useful and easier to access. So in the X, give this quick rotation, pull this down like this. Okay, and I've changed this to -90, and maybe reduce the segments. Actually, I can keep it there. Then also want the origin to be there. So I can use quick functions, modifiers, mirror thickness, or mirror modifier. Just apply rotation. like that. Let me get rid of this face. Turn on clipping. Shade smooth, auto smooth, I like that. And I think I could add a bevel, but maybe not. So if you look closely, this is quite thick. So let me just use Alt S to make it this arch thick as well. But if you look closely, it looks like this is not aligned correctly. So let me just fix that. Okay, so this is our arch, or at least the starting point. I'm going to go to my materials. I'm also still using the asset library. Search for a rock material. See if that this will work on this. Shaders are still compiling. Okay, so this is quite large, but let me go back to my shading and just reduce the scale of this a bit. So that is, yeah, something like that. Let's go back here. Now, what I want is to start adding in some details. But first, let's add in some edge loops. And I think we can also use a mirror modifier. I'm going to sculpt this so that we add so that it's easier to add in details. I think it would also help to have this inside part removed. I'm not sure why the inside looks different. I'm not sure why the inside looks stretched. Anyway, so let me first unwrap this. Okay, so let's start adding in some details. I'm going to grab this edge loop, extrude out like that, get these bevel round corners, and use a different shape. Am I cheating by making my trees in speed tree? Nah, man. Trees are hard to do. So if you can use a different program that does it very well, it's not cheating. If it's cheating, well, I guess we should be cheating, because even the speed tree is kind of the industry standard. That's what Hollywood uses. So if it's cheating, then Hollywood is also cheating, which I guess is okay, because that's what most 3D artists strive for, to kind of be Hollywood good. And if Hollywood good is cheating, then I guess it's okay to cheat. Yeah, so this is our base structure. Again, we're not trying to make this exactly, but we're just using it as a base frame. Now, what I'm going to do is, let me first make sure that we're using, what is it? Let me make sure that my internet is good. Let's make sure that, let's go to sculpting mode. Sculpt, and I'll turn on dynamic topo. Dynamic topo under sculpt tools, dyno topo, like that. Now that is going to switch off my mirror, which is okay, because if I go back, I will be able to find that. Now I can start sculpting in these details. Now, if you want to create line details like this, you can go under the stroke option. Is it under stroke? Yeah, and use the line option. And you can see we can draw lines like that. Now, but our resolution is a bit down, so let me bring it up. And my curve, or my brush is a bit too high. It's too big. So you can see how I'm able to draw lines. But I want them to be deeper, so I'm just going to bring that up, and I also reduce my brush radius. And I guess I can change the fall off to constant. Let me see how that will. Yeah, I think that gives us some nice strokes, heavy strokes. but still, maybe let's use sharpness, a sharp contrast, or fall off, and increase the strength quite high. I feel if I can't make something professional in Blender like trees, then I'm running away from learning Blender. Well, you're not really running away, because it doesn't really matter how you make the thing that you're making. What matters is the output you manage to get out of what you're making. Because if you just decide to learn everything, try to do everything manually by yourself, you're going to find yourself stranded, and you will never complete any project in time. So for example, if you say, because for example, if you're trying to texture, you will notice that if you go to the shading tab, if you're trying to do procedure textures, you'll find that there are some custom presets here. I'll take these as presets. So you have waves, you have raw, you have sky textures, you have noise textures. These are like presets. So if you think that if you're not creating everything from scratch, you're cheating, then it means you are also using these presets is also cheating, because you can create them from scratch from math nodes. Say using something like Substance Designer, because Substance Designer, it does have presets like this, but you can build them from scratch using simple nodes. So you can never really do anything from scratch. I don't remember who said it. I don't know if it was Carl Sagan, that if you want to make a sandwich from scratch, you will have to start by creating the universe, because even if you say you're creating I'm not sure how you say. That's the quote exactly, that if you're trying to make a sandwich from scratch, you'll have to start by making a universe. It's same with Blender. If you want to learn everything in Blender, it means that you can't even use these presets here, because they are not exactly, they are presets, so they are a collection of different nodes. So you need to start from somewhere, and it's not necessary to learn everything, since no one is learning everything. Can you suggest how to learn HDR and background? And can I download Valorant HDRs for free, like maps? I don't think you can. I don't think you can download Valorant HDR images for free, because that would be copyright infringing. But I think it will only matter if you're going to use, if you're big enough for Origin. Is it? I don't know who owns Valorant, but it would only be relevant if they would notice, and they only notice if you're big enough. And give me a moment. My headphones have just run out of battery. Just need to charge them. Ugh. Hello, Elias. How are you? Also, how are you, the crazy Indian roster? How crazy are you? Just fix my headphones a bit, charge them. Riot owns Valorant. Yeah, so they would only care if you're big enough. I don't know. They might come for you as well, so don't want me on that. Hello, Top Channel 1-on-1 community members and attendees. Regards. Hello, Mohammed. How are you? Yeah, I was trying to make these lines here. And put on some music. Okay. Let's go back to sculpt mode and just increase the. So if you can type in a bigger value than 1 if you want your strings to be even more stronger. So you can see that. So let me just go back here, make sure that I have Dino Topo on, and now I can just bring in those lines like that, so you can see those demarcations. I get really confused how to get HDRIs. Can you suggest a video or something? I was fine. How are you? Oh, great. So you mean where to get that? Where to find HDRIs or using them? Because using them is very easy. You just So do you mean using them or where to find them? What are the free plugins and add-ons that you frequently use for your daily project? Well, the plugins I use daily are not for free. These are my own plugins I made, and you can just get them on my Blender Market page. The links are always in the description. But they're not really free because I need a way to sustain myself. That's one way I do it. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm trying to add in these lines. Yes, adding those lines. So you can see that you don't really need to do much to add in details. You can even start adding in these diagonal ones. The issue is that you have to do this in different angles to get the correct. Okay. If I do this and that like that. Now we can even make this really deep. I just something like that. Hello, Casimedify. Casimedify, do I? Jechiru, how are you? Okay. Let's see. Now we can continue adding in more details, but let's change up the brush a bit here and add some damage. Or let's create some larger details. I don't know, something like this. And I'm not doing a lot of sculpting here. I'm just using the line tool here. Just am I actually using the line tool? Where is my line tool? So to use the line tool, I would have to. You need to make sure that you're using the stroke. Change the stroke method. But I'm not sure if I want to do that. Let's go back to space, just so we can draw details. Now I want to add in some brick details in some places, so let me change the strength to something like 0.5, and I can do something like that. So let's try using constant fall off. Just we can try to add in some brick detail. Now there are better ways to do this, but just experimenting with different ways. Now we can make this even rocky just by randomly brushing off some parts. So And I'm holding down Control to add in that detail. So and I'm thinking I might be using the detail level might be a bit too low. So let me bring that to 6 so that the resolution isn't too bad. I'm just trying to make this wall less even so that it fits the texture we put on it. And say you want to, let me see, do we have any details here? Hello, Kapil Patel. Good evening. Good evening, Top Channel. How are you doing? Great. I'm doing great, man. How are you? How is everything? I wasn't expecting to see you here because this is a completely different time that I usually stream than what I usually stream. But I'm glad to see you. Yeah, so I want to add in more details, so like drawings and what. So you can we can use a stabilized stroke, and that lets us draw lines. So let's go back to let me see which there is not this. I think is this. Just use a very sharp detail. Yeah. Let me see. And I don't want to use too much. Let me just make sure that the brush size is significantly small. And need stabilized stroke. Has to be on, so you can see how we can make some details. So I can draw some circles here. But I think my resolution is still too high, so let's use 6. Glad I caught our streamer. Thank you. Great. Hello, Rajab. How are you? Good job. Thank you. So you can see we can draw in some random detail. Bring back. Let me change the genre of music here. What are the Eevee render configuration settings for the final scene that you frequently deployed and you recommend in projects? So it's usually project dependent. I don't really have any specific settings that I use. I just depends on the project I'm working on. Okay. I think can also use the clay. I'm just going to turn off stabilization and just draw some. Just make this side also more blocky, so the texture will apply much better. Will look much better. And then just do something like that. Now we can even just make sharp details, so it makes it seem like there is damage on this. Now we can go back to object mode, and since our details are mirrored on the back and the front, you can see this becomes like that. But one thing you will notice is that if we look at the wireframe, it's going to be quite dense. So I'm just going to go to, let me first apply the mirror. Actually, before I even apply the mirror, let me just use the decimate tool, decimate, so I can reduce on the details. So that's not bad. Apply that. Hello, while Sally, thank you. What is the technical reference of the camera plan on the Blender software that you frequently deployed? the projects. Oh, I think I already answered that, Mohammed, because as I said, it's project dependent. It depends on what I want to do with the project. Okay, actually, I think I removed too much detail, so I want to remove somewhere like 0.5, apply, and then come back to this. Now, if we look at the texture, that's how things look. A bit too shiny, so let's go back to the shading and look at the roughness of these. Just make things a bit more rough. Just call this templum. Yeah, let me just use that. Let me see. Just add a math node here so that I can control the roughness a bit. Yeah, I think something like that is much better. Let me turn on ambient occlusion. Let me increase the ambient occlusion factor by 2 just so. Yeah, let's go back to this. Yeah, see, like that. Now let's make this thing here. That we can just use. Let me see. What can we use? We can use a curve. Let's start with a curve like this. Rotate this 90 degrees. And let's get another curve, subdivide it. Let me change this to aligned and then subdivide. And I just grab these, pull them in, change them to, let me select the inverse, change this to vector. This can be pushed in further. Let's see. And this star can be used as the shape, as the bevel shape of the curve. Like that. Just need to bring this down. Make sure it's using the same material as this, like that. What are the light axis position on Blender software that you frequently deploy? Yeah, I think Mohammed, you're asking the same questions, so yeah, and I think I've answered you already. Just yeah, I'm not sure what you're doing. Anyway, so we're creating this, and we can add an empty like this, and let me grab another surface, okay, let me create another curve, rotate it on X. Hello Raj the gamer, how are you? Yeah, it's Raj the gamer. You also frequent my streams as well, so yeah, it seems that most of you are also still awake, because I think you are in the same time zone as me, so it should be night time where you are. Raj, is it? Yeah, I want to use the same modifier as this. Just like I said, Mohammed, my render settings are just dependent on a per project, so I don't really have a go-to settings. Just depends on the project I'm working on. I am unable to take time to practice Blender, and I am confused where to start and what to learn first. Just dive in, see what you enjoy, and just go with that. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just try to go with what you like most about Blender, and start there. Yeah, so we're trying to make this. So we have created an empty, so we can use an array modifier, use an object for the offset, and select this empty for the offset. And one thing we can do is make sure that the cursor is at the empty, and then move this to the cursor position, and make sure that it has no rotation and has no scale, like that. So now if we rotate this, you can already see we are getting some similar results. So if I increase the count here, I can basically just start shaping this in the same way, but I think I need to go to edit mode and scale this down, or maybe even rotate it 90 degrees, rotate it 180 degrees, bring this down. So you can see the different shapes we can make. We can go with this. Just make sure that it's using the same material, like that. Now what I would like to do here is also just tweak this a bit. I don't know. Maybe it's not that important. Oh, go remove the object offset as well, the relative offset. Yes, it is a 3 a.m. here. Yeah, so it's 12 a.m. where I am. So you are 2 hours, 3 hours, or 2 hours, I think. Three. So what are you doing up so late? So what were you doing? Now you just play with the rotation of these to create more, to make these more tight. So I can have something like that. And if I move these around, you can see I can change the shapes quite easily, like that. And I think I can move some of these so that they're not too overlapping. So we have something like that. Makes a good detail. How long have you been learning Blender? So I've been using Blender for 10 years, but it's not consistently. So I wasn't opening Blender every day or every year. So there are times when I never touched. There are years where I never touched Blender. That's usually when I was in school or just doing other stuff, other different type of work that didn't require Blender or any 3D work. Hello, Manta Biswas. Hello. I was part of game industry, but was really frustrated and all about optimization rather than quality. Yes, the game industry is mostly about optimization because you can't really run a lot of polygons on smartphones or even some computers. So you have to keep balance between optimization and and quality. My schedule messed up in lockdown. I think everyone's schedule did become messed up. But yeah, you're right there. And you can add more details to this if you wanted. So you can see, can add, actually, let me get this. And since we have this setup, I can duplicate this and make a different design. So for example, I can just delete this segment and just rotate, shrink this at the edge, and maybe make these thicker like that. So you can see we can easily make different designs. And I think if I pull this in, we can make some alien looking designs like that. Yeah, so several ways of making this, but I think I'm just okay with this. So the next thing I could do is just apply, convert this to a mesh, convert this to a mesh like that, and this to a mesh. Convert to mesh. What do you do apart from YouTube? I'm also a programmer, Python programmer, so do some Python, but mostly nowadays I'm doing Blender and Blender add-ons, because I think that's a sustainable business model for me, so that's why I'm doing it more often nowadays. Yeah, so now that we have this, we can okay, this is a lot of polygons, but that's okay. We can come in and add some damage to this. Maybe we can have a separate one that doesn't have a lot of damage, but for the one that we're going to use in this, so it should be around here. Maybe even make it a bit thicker. Actually, thicker doesn't look very good, so you can grab this, go to sculpt mode, I've been following your channel for a while now, but never joined a live stream. Hey, glad to see you now. Glad to see you joining us. So why weren't you? Why? So you have never been able to join it because you were a bit busy? But glad to see you joining us. Julius Mabunda, good morning from South Africa. Oh, good morning from East Africa. How is South Africa? I want to visit one day. Hopefully that would be possible. So yeah, let's sculpt this, add some damage to this, and so I'm going to use Dynatopo again. Just if you use, you can see I can easily add damage like that. I can even use the smooth tool that can add damage. I can even use this snake tool to add in extra detail. I think actually we can use this to add some cool detail. I think we have to do it. Let me see. Actually, I think this the snake tool can be used quite. Let me see what we can do here. So if I drag this, you can create some amazing shapes here. Just reduce the size of these. Just making some weird looking shapes. This could make some nice looking door, which is what we are after. So let's do that. Some nice weird shapes. South Africa is good. Nice to know. So how is the 3D environment? How is the 3D market there in South Africa? Because here is the market is still young. There isn't a lot of jobs since we barely have a movie industry here, so and a game industry. There are barely any 3D jobs. But what is amazing is that this internet thing, so it doesn't really matter that much because you can still work online, which is an amazing. Have time to learn new things and grow more now. Amazing. Good. What is your qualifications? Do you work anywhere or it's just YouTube? For now, it's just YouTube. I think I'm able to sustain myself on YouTube and programming, so I don't really need a job right now. Can I hear your thoughts about making flowers and flora? Well, if I was making those, I will use Speed Tree because it's much faster at stuff like that. Okay, I think this is an amazing piece and looks organic. I think we can also work more on it. So let's go back to sculpt mode turn on Dino Topo again. This time let's use 3 so that we get more subdivisions. And so we can bring in some small details in here. It's usually these small details that are going to make your whatever piece you're working on stand out. So you can invest some time adding such details. You can already see the difference that we have made there. What computer are you using? Because I'm having trouble when it comes to creating detailed model. Well, you can use ! specs to see the PC specs that I'm using right now, but it's not a very powerful computer. Can I what is your qualification? Do you I think I said that. Can you give me some tips on sustaining with just freelance? This is going to be dependent on your skill level. Actually, it doesn't really depend on your skill level. It depends on your experience marketing yourself online and where you are trying to look for jobs. So just find out the best place to find work. I started out with Fiverr. Then I did some work on CG Trader. Also did some work on what was the site? Elance. And so just find a platform that works for you, and you can start from there. Okay, I think that's well detailed. And if we add another, maybe let me grab we can turn this into a wooden door or just keep it. So if we put something in the back here, I think it would make things look much better. If we give it the same material, so Control L, link materials. Maybe not, because I think we need to leave it like that. Should I learn modeling then rigging, like step by step process? You try to find out what you want to do before you invest too much time. So if you want to go through to become a rigger, then you can learn rigging. There's no reason to learn Blender in sequence steps, or like learning modeling and then rigging. And you can learn one thing and then come back. You don't really have to learn everything in a sequence. So you don't have to learn modeling and then rigging. You can learn rigging and then modeling, because you can always download models somewhere and practice rigging if you want to become a rigger. Are you using a tablet or I'm just using my mouse? I have a tablet, but it takes a while to set up and I don't really want to do that. Can I locally source for work? We collaborate. I am a TV commercial director here. You mean collaborate with me? Yeah, I'm not sure I would have time to do that. I've tried TV commercials and they're quite some time. They're a lot of work. It's not. Yeah, it's simply a lot of work that I may not be able to take on. Okay, so let's add some steps here. Those should be very easy. We can simply create a few blocks like this. And I'm just going to, I want to have some heavy blocks like this. And I think I can use a bevel tool or a bevel modifier. So let me add that like that. Go to edit mode. Just make a few of these. Can give them some slight rotation so they look quite random and not computer placed. So something like this. Grab like that and just duplicate duplicate until we make some steps like actually not like that. These have to be offset a bit. These have to be offset like that. Just grab this. Then now I think I can just duplicate this into different steps like that. Do you still work on Fiverr? I have some clients from Fiverr. Now I am personally working with them. Now I am not using Fiverr only, mostly. Yeah, I'm no longer working on Fiverr. I used to work there, but I was getting too much work, and the requirements, the clients wanted too much attention than I could give. So I'm not. Yeah, so these are our blocks, but we want them to be a bit more detailed. So I'm going to go apply the bevel and go back to sculpt mode. Use my Dino Topo option, Dino Topo, and just start making these variation, adding some variation to these. So these are our blocks. Let me make sure that I have Dino Topo again. Use the clay tool and just add some damage to them. Just need to increase. And I think I can use a resolution of 6. Just make them random by just moving your brush around. You don't really have to be too careful. Just make them look organic and damaged. So just add some damage to these bricks, so that you don't have a single brick that looks perfect, because that will okay. Now if we go back here, we can have something like that. I think there is too much gap between these, so I'll just go back to top view, grab these pieces, just bring them closer like that. Where do you sell these masterpieces you are creating? Most of them just go to my Patreon page and sometime on my CG Trader page. Okay, you can see we have got some good looking, I think. And I think we can also just grab this block here, and I'm going to use the decimate tool to reduce the number of polygons so that it's much lighter. Yeah, something like that. And I just make sure that these blocks, all of these are on the same level so that we can use them elsewhere. So like that, like that, like that. Now we can use this here. And now with this we can use Alt D to make instances, mirror this on the Y, just to make them look a bit different. Can even scale these, some of these, so that they don't look too repeated, like that. I think I have a knight in my asset library, so let me look for that. Have a knight. Do I even know how to spell that? Knight. Let me just look for medieval or Roman soldier. I think that's what I call them. Let me get my soldier here. Scale him up. Which website? Like I said, I sell them on my Patreon page and cgtrader.com. So if you want to check out that page, it's just cgtrader.com/ismailsvfx. VFX. Like that. That's where I put my models. Every time I join your stream, I get some motivation and I learn from it. But I am going to sleep now. It's too late. Good night, man. But yeah, do something. Don't just watch. And hopefully share what you have made. So are you creating a movie scene or gaming? I'm just going to create a simple scene like this. Something similar to this. We make local, get this soldier. Select Shift G children. Okay. Hello, Malaysian boy. How are you? Hello, Utam Red. How are you? Okay, so here we are. We have this guy. We have a soldier here. Except I want this to be longer. So what I'm going to do is just grab his this whatever it is. Just bring it down. Turn on proportional editing. Make sure that I have connected on. Just bring it down like this. And we have that. And let me just also grab him. I'll put him on the stairs. I think he needs to be a bit taller. So let's go like that. Now let me just pause him a bit. Hello there. I am creating a portfolio, like saving them on my Google Drive. They are not so good at share, but yeah, they look good to me. Yeah, you can share them and you can still share them regardless. Because I've seen people sharing their first render and it's the default cube. So if you have done more than that, you're already doing far better. Maybe it's just share that as a meme, but it's a funny one. So don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid to share your own. Doesn't matter. And yeah. Just pause this guy a bit. And another thing I want to do is have this kind of, let me turn on proportional editing. I still want this to be quite large. If you're using the what is it called? The cloth library add-on, and I have an object like this, you can make it into, you can turn it into a pattern, and that will make it a cloth object. So if I hit play, it should be able to, I can simulate it into a mesh. Better, let's just have it like that. you share them tomorrow on your Discord. Ah, nice. That would be amazing. That looks great. Ah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I think we can start setting up some rendering as the camera and everything. So that way, actually, I also want to use a very wide angle at this time just to see how that would look. Let me use a very narrow lens, but wide. Let me see, 90. Just pull it back quite a lot. Now let's use cycles to render this. How did you make the render look so good? Well, these are just materials. We haven't really set up any lighting. But yeah, it's mostly how detailed the model is going is that helps. So let's do this. Bring the camera quite back. Well, let's let's use a 30mm. Now we can use a sky environment, a sky texture to light this. I want to have some directional light on this. Okay, Blender just crashed. Yeah, that's a reference image. Not really my render yet. That's where we want to get. I'm starting to think I'm that good, like I'm really that good if this is what is impressing you. But turns out you're just mistaking the render to be mine, but that's okay. Anyway, let me just put this to 35 again. And since we have these bricks here, we can use them as the flow as well. So like this. Like that. I'm not sure if we can use them here. If we should use them here. Let me see. Do I have some rocks? Rock. Yeah, I think I'm going to use some. These are surfaces, substance. No, actually, Quicksaw mixer assets. Quicksaw bridge. Is it Quicksaw bridge? What is it? Quicksaw Megascan assets. I think they can work nicely here. Just add them to the environment. So let me just turn on proportional editing. Make some kind of a hill here. One thing you'll notice is that the colors are a bit off for this, and you always want to have the colors match beat. So let's go back to the shading and grab this base color and just add and our RGB curves to make the colors match a bit. Yours looks exactly like it too. No, it doesn't, man. You just you're trying to hype me up, but yeah. So let's okay, let's bring this. Try to make the colors match. I think somewhere like that. Yeah. Okay, still a bit off. I think it's kind of better than before. So now it matches a bit. Now we can even duplicate this. Let me use Shift D. Make this a bit flatter. So just put it below our bricks. So some of the rocks go through a bit like that. It just adds some nice detail to our surface. Can even scale this quite, yeah, something like that. Now we can grab this again, Shift D, or use Alt D. So we're not. Let me see. Why did Why did this change? Okay. Grab this Alt D, so we can make an instance. Maybe. Nah. It's Alt D. Have this on the side like this. Just make a few copies. Let me look for arch, another arc that I can use here. This time I think we can use something like this. So we have some kind of a bridge. So grab this, scale it up, and just make it just something like that. Duplicate it, just make it line up with this. Actually, you can just do that. Grab this again, Alt D, up. Now we're just trying to make a massive structure here, so and duplicating this is getting a bit difficult. I think it requires quite more RAM, but yeah, and just going to also change my camera creeping to 500 so we can see more. And I think some of these may not have those details. And I can grab something like this, make sure that it's a single object and not an instance like this. Go to sculpt mode. Let me first isolate it for a bit. Oh, not sculpt mode. Turn on Dino Tuple. Sculpt mode, Dino Tuple. Like that. I'm new to Blender. Oh, nice. New how long have you been using Blender? Is it like 1 month or new like this is your first time seeing Blender? because that would be interesting. Okay, I think I'm using too many polygons for this, so let me make sure that my dino topo why is I don't want constant detail, want relative detail, and this can be 10. Okay, I need to damage this using this tool, so I want to have this look like it has been broken apart, damaged, and so let's go back here. You can see how easily you can make that look damaged. I have been using it for a week. Nice. Welcome to Blender, to the Blender community, man. Okay, for some reason this looks a bit different. This texture looks a bit different from this. So let's find out why. So let's go back to shading. And let's see. Actually, maybe we can use, let me see. Let me see if the face orientation looks okay. These are the same. I see. This needs to be UV unwrapped. Cube projection, and now the textures should look the same. Yes, so you are really you're fairly new if you are just 1 week into using Blender. Okay, let's go to cycles, set up some lighting, and see. Going to GPU. Yeah. I've made the classic beginner donut. Yeah, that's a nice start, nice place to start, because it takes you through most of the basics. So if you go through that, if you manage to go through that, I should take you somewhere, should be somewhere. Okay, now let's tweak the settings here. 45 for the sun. Let's try 270 or okay, it seems my PC can't really handle rendering in cycles while working or streaming. Let's see. And I think because I have a lot of polygons in my scene, that's why. I think I'm going to, let me get rid of some of these, replace them with some damaged pieces like this, and let me also duplicate this damaged one, add it to the back there, just so we fill up some space. Do this. Maybe closing the tabs. Maybe closing the tabs in Google. Do I have a lot of tabs? Yeah, I think yeah, because Chrome does chew a lot of RAM, so maybe that helps. Let's see. Can have something like that. Let's grab more. Let me pull the camera back a bit. Grab this piece of, I don't know, rocks, have it there, and this side. Yeah, let's go back to cycles, see if it will crash again. Let me just use CPU because it's slower, but I don't think it crashes as much. Back the sun. Let's see. Let me grab, if I suppose, grab this entire wall structure. Just mirror this on the other side. How long have you been doing Blender? Must be a long time. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. I like 10 years. Let me add some volumetric here. Volumetric. Change this to where? Yeah, it's been a while. But like I said, not consistently. 0.3. Let's see if I put in some volumetric. See, adding volumetrics just change the scene quite significantly. Now we can even grab some of these light blocks to block out some of the light. Just use it to kind of direct our sun. Didn't know Blender was even that old. Blender is I think 20 years or something. It's quite old. Let me change the intensity to something like 0.5. Let's see, 0.1. Now let me change the rotation. 25. It's really coming together now. Thank you. Yeah, Blender has been around for quite some time. Let me look for some medieval pieces that we can add in here. Have this, so let me add that in. That's like Windows XP. Windows XP is Windows XP. Windows XP is not 20 years, I think. It's not. Is it? Can't remember, but I don't think it is 20 years. No, that's not going to work. Let me look for columns. Rotate this. October 25th. That's 21 years. Wow. That's yeah, so I think Blender is a bit older than that, than Windows XP then. You look for ROM. Okay, there's also these pieces that I created when creating the Gothic castle something a few weeks ago. So let's try using them here and see. Let's create these massive structures, I think. Let's see. Not really getting this. I think I have a horse, so let's put that in. Just put it somewhere there, because it's not the best looking horse, so I'll just have it far in the distance. No problem, man. Have a good night. And this is not usually when I stream, so yeah, I understand how that must. Anyway, kind of proportional editing here. Just want to. I don't want to rig this, but I want to make it seem like the horse is good stream. Thank you. Let me go to my vibrant colors add-on. Just play with the contrast a bit. and the colors. Sometimes playing with the contrast of your image can make a huge difference, as you can see. I think so. That's before, after. Maybe make it more warm. I think I can even bring this closer to the camera. Just making an instance, but my PC already stops responding. That shows how heavy my scene is getting. Just have maybe this here. And another copy. Let me also add this statue just in the back there to add something large. Hello, Ziom. I don't know if that's how you pronounce your name, but glad to see you. Let me see if I get rid of this. Nah, that's the icon. Maybe make it larger, like much more massive. I'll pull back the camera just a bit. I'll change the aspect ratio back to 1080 so we can get more in frame. Yeah, I think that's how it's going to be. Let's see, 20 millimeters, and just